I recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Cloud, for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for being here. Thank you for the work you do in our all-important judiciary. I had a couple questions I wanted to bring up. One, I read through the strategic plan, and my understanding is those come out every 5 years, so we should be expecting another one this year. Is that correct?
Yes.
About when could we expect that?
We have spent time at the last two judicial conferences getting out the strategic plan to the committee responsible for it, to the other conference committees that have input in it. And
Is there a
that's
time? I'm sorry,
a
I
work in process, and
have a lot of stuff to go through, so is there a date that we can, roughly? I'm
our
not,
next judicial conference is in October of 2025.
okay, so is that when we would expect the report shortly thereafter?
Possible that it would be produced at that time.
Okay. You had mentioned, Judge Conrad, in your statement, the importance of us protecting judges against hurt or threats of impeachment. I think it's dangerous to combine those two in the same sentence. Against hurt, yes, we should definitely protect them. But that would be like you telling me that I should not be worried about what the people will think who elected me. Impeachment is a constitutional role to hold the judiciary accountable. And certainly, you know, Congress created these courts with the exception of the Supreme Court, and that is our mechanism to deal with the legal system that's gone wayward. So we want to do everything we can to protect the judges and anyone involved in the legal process, but I think it's a dangerous ground to say that. And I was actually disappointed by this Chief Justice when he came out with everything going on in the judiciary right now, for him to come out and take issue with the president when there's a lot of work to be done within the judiciary is very concerning. Now, one of the big issues, and the second one in the strategic plan, which I certainly appreciate, was preserving public trust, confidence, and understanding. And it talked basically about the need to educate the public about everything that's going on. Now, a lot's happened in 5 years, and we've seen a lot of what some would say is lawfare. I certainly would agree with that. I think a number of Americans do. And I'm wondering what you will do as we approach the next strategic plan to deal with these sort of things, where we see lawyers who represent President Trump disbarred and threatened just for representing him in some cases, and then we see those prosecuting President Trump basically given a free pass. And so you could go down the long list of bad practices that has happened, but you know, from Jack Smith to Fannie Willis was disqualified from the case, and Nathan Wade from his case, but neither of them have faced disbarment. Alvin Bragg turned a misdemeanor into invented law, basically, in order to bring indictments. He has not been referred to for disbarment. Letitia James has been basically under investigation for the very thing she accused President Trump of, and Elise Stefanik and others have called for her to be disbarred. Has not been referred. You know, so we see a duplicity here, and that's where we're getting a lot of the mistrust that the Americans have in the judiciary right now. I'm wondering what your strategic plan will do to address those concerns.
I'd like to go back to your first comment and work from there, where you identified that in my opening remarks I had referred to the physical security of judges and impeachment in the same phrase or sentence. And your point's a fair one, and I take it
Thank you, sir.
as a clarification. From the independent judiciary's perspective, they do represent two harms. The first harm is to judges and their family members who have been threatened either by intimidation or actual physical violence. In the last several years, the marshals have
We've met
than
with
1,000.
the Supreme Court and the administrative judge, and we've discussed this. I don't think there's debate across the aisle as to whether or not we should protect judges, at least hopefully in this chamber.
And then the second
My
part,
concern is, what are we going to do to restore trust in the American people in a judicial process that seems very partisan? For example, district judges who think that they can impose executive mandates. I mean, you go read Federalist 78, and it's very clear the judiciary will have no force or will over the purse
Right.
or the sword, and yet we have a number of judicial judges who seem to think that they've been elected president.
and our system for 250 years has functioned with one branch having the sword, one branch having the purse, and the third branch being supposedly the least dangerous of the branches. There is disagreement, strong disagreement, passionate disagreement with the rulings of district court judges. Our tradition of justice has been to challenge those rulings, to appeal them, and to get the ruling that you think, as a litigant, you're entitled to. It has
The
never
question
been-
was what were you going to do in the strategic plan? And my time's up, Chairman,
Time's up.
but
Thank you.
that's the
The
answer. I'm
chair,
looking for.
chair now recognizes